Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. On September 13th, the 44th year of Konoha. Kikyo Mountain. A forest in the southwest area. Swish. 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 A series of air-breaking sounds rang out. And one Uchiha ninja after another was seen moving forward at a very fast speed. If you look closely, you will find that these Uchiha ninjas look very relaxed and calm, as if they are very confident in their own strength and ability. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, without any signs, deafening explosions suddenly sounded one after another. Not good. There is an ambush, an ambush. The 30 Uchiha ninjas who were moving at a very fast speed were caught off guard by the explosion. And all began to dodge in all directions at a very fast speed. But they found that the area was buried with detonating talismans. And not only that, the smoke produced by the explosion seemed to be poisoned, which made the body's movement speed much slower, and the chakra of the whole body began to be out of control. Swish! 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 There were sounds of breaking through the air. Countless kunai also came from all directions like an overwhelming force. So, under the net of poison gas, detonating talismans, and kunai everywhere, Sharingan had no room to play. In just half a minute. Ah! Ah! Screams rang out one after another. 20 Uchiha Chunin and 9 Uchiha Jonin tried their best to dodge and resist. But they were useless and their bodies were still blown to pieces. Instantly, fresh meat flew everywhere. The head that was still open-eyed slammed hard on the ground. Another wave of detonating talismans exploded. Boom! A series of roars rang out again. Damn it! I told you to be careful. You are all so conceited and confident to the ultimate. Now we are ambushed and almost wiped out. Seeing this scene, one of the young men, who was wearing a black tight combat uniform with the Uchiha fan pattern printed on it, with red laminated armor on the outside and covered with strands of black chakra, looked extremely ugly. At this time, the young man relied on his superb physical fitness. Even if there were attacks from detonating talismans and kunai, he still withstood them. But others, the Uchiha ninja was not so lucky. Soon, when he realized that the enemy had not yet appeared, the young man strategically did not move around. Instead, he silently held his breath, clenched his fists, and entered a combat mode. Whoosh! 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 And in the next moment, a series of air-breaking sounds were heard, and more than 80 black shadows appeared around. They were wearing Tsunagakure's ninja uniforms. After a slight perception, none of them was below the elite Chunin level. And there were even more than 30 Jonin among them. These ninjas seemed to have taken antidotes in advance and knew where to bury the detonating talismans, resulting in different standing positions. Even when they saw that there was only one person left, they were very cautious and did not attack directly. The leading female elite Jonin took a step forward and showed an extremely excited expression. Ha ha ha, we worked hard to lurk behind Kikyo Mountain and set up a net, and finally ambushed a big fish. Uchiha Union, an alternative of the Uchiha clan, had almost no talent for ninjutsu training, but became a well-known physical genius in Konoha village. He once punched a cloud shinobi Jonin's head and was called together with another genius ninja of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Light. You are now using the chakra armament haki that is said to be comparable to lightning-style chakra mode. Unfortunately, as a Taijutsu elite Jonin, you have been surrounded by us, and your legend seems to be coming to an end. When she said this, the female elite Jonin looked at the handsome Uchiha Union, and her expression fluctuated invisibly. How could this happen? The invisibility is so strong? No wonder the intelligence shows that Nine-Tails Jinkriki Kushina, the daughter of the Uchiha clan's chief elder Uchiha Mikoto, are both very close to him and are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. However, the female elite Jainin was still determined. She came to her senses in an instant and signaled to the sand shinobi around her, saying, "Be careful when sailing the 10,000 years ship. Facing such a famous genius taijutsu ninja, you should be cautious." The next second, the Jainin who had been standing in 8 different positions all made hand seals. Buzz! In an instant, a yellow light curtain suddenly opened and combined with the 8 people's positions to form an octagonal barrier. So cautious! Uchiha Liunian, whose whole body was wrapped in black chakra, had a helpless look in his eyes. It was so uncomfortable. It was difficult to leave, and now with the barrier and the invisible poisonous fog in the air, it was as if the sky was going to kill him. It's too difficult. You know, he relied on his personal charm and ability to steal Uzumaki Kushina and Uchiha Mikoto, but they haven't enjoyed it yet. It's so painful. That's right, Uchiha Liunian is actually a time traveler. By accident, he traveled to the world of Hokage Ninja and became a member of the Uchiha clan. When he was young, his parents died on the battlefield. In order to live well in the ninja world where the weak are the prey of the strong, he worked hard to practice self-discipline even though he had the blood limit, Sharingan. He almost vomited when he saw the Hokage rock at 4 a.m. However, ideals are full of hope, but reality is very bleak. He can cultivate chakra, but his talent in ninjutsu is almost zero. The only good news is that his talent in taijutsu is superior to others. He has no choice but to focus on taijutsu training. With his good talent and crazy training, he developed the ninja version of Marine 6 styles and the chakra version of armament haki. This also made him an outlier in the Uchiha clan, a genius who became famous by taijutsu. They all became geniuses. Besides, he was handsome and full of masculinity. He seemed to have a little attraction to precocious female ninjas. His classmates Uchiha Mikoto and Uzumaki Kushina both fell in love with him. That was all he could do. He didn't care about the bullshit plot and influence. He wanted it all. At the same time, he accepted the confessions of Uchiha Mikoto and Uzumaki Kushina. Not only that. The protagonist who saved Kushina in the original work also became him. With his powerful physical skills, he beat the Cloud Shinobi who somehow sneaked into Konoha village and PD'd them off. He also punched a Cloud Shinobi Jainin's head. He became famous in the ninja world. Until now, when he remembered that he was a hero and saved the beauty Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Dans, Udaten Koharu, Mitokado Homura was obviously very frustrated and helpless, but he had to pretend to be happy and praise him. He couldn't help but want to laugh. Of course, it was impossible for Konoha F4 to suppress him openly. After all, he was also a physical genius of the Uchiha clan. In addition, he was the recognized grandson-in-law of the Uchiha clan's elder Uchiha Setsuna, Uchiha Mikoto's grandfather, so he had a little background. Therefore, Konoha's high-level officials temporarily acquiesced that Nine-Tails Jinkriki Uzumaki Kushina would become one of his girlfriends. Alas! I just reached a bottleneck in my physical training. I wanted to break through, so I took the initiative to apply to join this batch of Uchiha teams to reinforce Kikyo Mountain. But I didn't expect that I would be hit on the head before I arrived at the battlefield. I learned a good lesson. Uchiha Liunian sighed helplessly. In the cruel ninja world, accidents happen every moment. The dead are the greatest. When a fellow Uchiha ninja died, he still felt a little sad and upset. Even though these ninjas were all on the side of the Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Futen, even though they were a little arrogant and self-conceited after opening the Sharingan, thinking that the Sharingan was invincible and the Uchiha clan was awesome. There was nothing they could do. After the Uchiha ninjas opened their eyes, their personalities would change to some extent, and their spirits would be a little abnormal. Even though he was now a genius of the Uchiha clan and the grandson-in-law recognized by the great elder of the Uchiha clan. But, the Sharingan had not even opened a Megatama. So, The Uchiha ninjas who opened the Sharingan would have some sense of superiority and arrogance that was beyond words when facing him. So what if Uchiha Liunian was a recognized taijutsu genius? The Uchiha ninjas used the Sharingan, and if they opened the Manjiki Sharingan, they would have a promising future. However, things are unpredictable. This time, when he was attacked while reinforcing the Kikyo Mountain battlefield, he escaped with his strong physical fitness. When he thought of this, Uchiha Liunian clenched his fists, and the chakra armament color of his body surged. With a flicker of his figure, he flashed to the nearest corner of the barrier and punched out. Buzz! The fist with terrifying power hit the barrier. And the extremely terrifying power burst out, causing the surface of the barrier to tremble several times. But it did not break. It's stronger than I thought, a bit like the four purple flame formation. Looking at this scene, Uchiha Liunian retreated to the center and murmured in his heart, with my current strength, I can't break this barrier at all, unless it's useless. The next second, the leading female ninja crossed her arms and sneered, unless you have the strength of the peak cage level, otherwise, you will be caught by us. You should be scorch style Yakang. After hearing this, Uchiha Liunian frowned and looked at the female ninja in front of him. Some information emerged in his mind, and he said coldly, I didn't expect that you sand shinobi have sneaked into the territory of the Land of Fire. You are using detonating tags and poisoning. Aren't you afraid of being discovered and being surrounded in all directions without dead ends? Ha 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 ha. We will withdraw after this. This time, we killed more than 20 elite ninjas of the Uchiha clan and captured the genius of Konoha village. It is already a fruitful harvest. Before the voice fell, there was a series of proud uproars at the scene. Sand Shinobi present the ninjas of the Shinobi surprise attack team all showed excitement and excitement. This time, they took great risks and sneaked into the territory of the Land of Fire in a long circle, but they did not expect to encounter the reinforcement team of the Uchiha clan. They used the detonating tags and the poison specially made by Chosama to directly wipe out the whole pot. Fortunately, they encountered the Uchiha clan, which claimed to be the first family in the ninja world. They were so arrogant and confident that they didn't even send a scout. Now, as long as they catch Uchiha Liunian, not only can they hit Konoha village hard in the face, but they can also coerce the Uchiha clan, which will virtually make Tsunagakuer have the upper hand in this battle of Kikyo Mountain. Uchiha Liunian, it seems that you also know my name. Yakang said coldly, are you going to surrender, or are we going to catch you in the trap? Hee. Uchiha Liunian narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a deep voice, do you think you can defeat me? Yes. Yakang shrugged indifferently and said confidently, you are a genius, but Sharingan is not opened. If we only rely on physical skills, we can really defeat you. Ah! After hearing this, Uchiha Liunian sighed heavily. Not opening Sharingan is his eternal helplessness. Who doesn't want to open the awesome Sharingan? He also tried many ways to open it, but he couldn't open it. Just like learning ninjutsu, his talent is really almost zero. He can't learn it at all. In addition, his parents are dead, and he has no brothers or sisters. It is impossible to use strong emotions to stimulate him. Unless he raises his hands to give his girlfriend Uchiha Mikoto to Uchiha Fugaku, and another girlfriend Uzumaki Kushina to Namikaze Minato, with two big green hats on his head, such strong emotional stimulation should have a great stimulating effect on Sharingan. Unfortunately, Uchiha Liunian is not that kind of person. He has no talent for ninjutsu, and his Sharingan has not opened his eyes, so he will stick to taijutsu. Of course, he also has a trump card, which is to use the ninja version of Marine 6 styles and the 8 inner gates exchanged by 10,000 years genin might. If he wants to break through the siege and kill so many sand shinobi, he must open the 6th gate of the 8 inner gates. His current body should not be able to bear it. If he becomes a useless person with no value, then everything will be ruined. By then, everything he has now will become a passing cloud, and even Uzumaki Kushina and Uchiha Mikoto may not be saved. In that case, a cold light flashed in Uchiha Liunion's eyes. Then he can only open the doors one by one and take a risk. However, at this critical moment, Cheat, who had made Uchiha Liunion, the time traveler, wait for several years without awakening, acted as a savior and made a ding sound. Ding! Congratulations host, you have awakened the God-level item system, which can not only refresh and upgrade items for yourself and your wife, but also copy and plunder other people's items. Chapter 2. What? Has the cheat that is a must for time travelers finally come? After practicing hard for so many years. System. Do you know how I got here? However, it is a good thing that the system can awaken. Uchiha Liunion was delighted and asked silently. System, the situation is urgent now, please introduce yourself quickly. Ding, host, this system is called the God-level item system. Everyone has their own exclusive items. Items represent talents, potential, destiny, blood, ninjutsu, etc. This system can not only extract upgrade items for yourself and your wife, but also copy and plunder other people's items. Item extraction: every month, the host can draw once for himself and his wife for free, and get a brand new item at random. Item copy: when you defeat your opponent, you can randomly copy an item of your opponent. Item plunder: when you encounter a ninja in a dying or dead state, cannot be dead for too long, you can plunder all their items. Item upgrade: you can consume a certain amount of item experience to upgrade and evolve the original low-level items. After upgrading, there is a chance to refresh new extended items. Item levels are divided by color, from low to high, they are white, green, blue, purple, orange, gold, black. Listening to the system's voice, Uchiha Liunion's heart suddenly understood, and had a general concept of the so-called God-level item system capabilities. Refresh, upgrade, copy, and plunder cover 4 aspects. The upper limit is ridiculously high. If he can make good use of it, he can completely walk sideways in the entire Hokage ninja world. Thinking of this, Uchiha Liunion subconsciously looked at the attribute panel that only he could see freely. Host, Uchiha Liunion. Age, 18 years old. Identity, Taijutsu Ninja of the Uchiha clan. Entry experience, 0, note, white, 1000, green, 10,000, blue, 100,000, purple, 10,000, orange, 10 million, gold, 100 million, black. Attribute entries, 8 inner gates, orange, charming, blue, extraordinary physique, blue, ninja 6 styles proficient, blue, shuriken proficient, blue, intermediate chakra, armament color, haki, blue, ninjutsu idiot, blue, sharingan, white. 8 inner gates, orange. With your current strength, if you kill 1000 enemies, you will lose 800 of your own. If you burst out with all your strength, you can kill Chao Ying with 3 kicks, and you will be completely disabled or even die. Charming, blue, handsome and masculine, your attraction to women increases by 30%. Extraordinary physique, blue, your body is naturally strong, and you have extraordinary talent in physical training. 6 ninja styles proficient, blue, you have mastered the 6 ninja styles, giving you excellent combat power. Intermediate chakra haki, blue, you can skillfully wrap chakra haki around your body, improving your body's defense and attack power. Sharingan, white, the Sharingan without eyes is slightly stronger than ordinary eyes. It is detected that it is very difficult for the host to open the eyes. It is recommended that the host use the upgrade entry to open the eyes and evolve. Ninjutsu idiot, blue, you have almost no talent for ninjutsu training. After looking at some of the specific entries he had, I understood. Uchiha Liunion finally understood why he had been stuck at Elite Jainin. And why he was so attractive to female ninjas. Why he had outstanding talent in physical skills but no talent in ninjutsu, and why the Sharingan was unsuccessful in opening his eyes. If you want to break through, it is also very simple. Practicing the 6 styles of ninja to Grandmaster or practicing chakra, armament color, haki, blue, to advanced state. You should be a cage level taijutsu ninja. By that time, the Grandmaster level 6 styles of ninja and advanced chakra haki should be upgraded to purple entries. Of course, it is also possible that you will never break through and be stuck in taijutsu elite Jainin for the rest of your life. When he thought of this, Uchiha Liunian looked at Yeking and other sand shinobi outside the barrier. After a slight blink of an eye, sure enough, there are various entries on the heads of each ninja. Among them, Yeking's entry is slightly more conspicuous. Ninja, Yeking of Scorch style. Age, 25 years old. Identity, Elite Jainin of Sunagakur. Attribute entries, Scorch style bloodline limit, purple, tragic fate, blue, beautiful and sexy, blue, wind style proficient, blue, water style entry, white, and so on. Scorch style bloodline limit, purple, a new nature transformation created by combining wind chakra and fire chakra, powerful. Tragic fate, blue, even if you have made great contributions to Sunagakur, you are likely to become a victim of the village politics. Beautiful and sexy, blue, both your appearance and figure are among the best in Sunagakur, with a unique charm. Wind style proficiency, blue, you can skillfully use various wind style ninjutsu. After a quick glance, Uchiha Liunian showed a thoughtful look. Yakura has a purple talent, which means that if he practices hard, he should be able to break through from elite Jainin to cage level. As for the tragic blue entry, it is understandable. Because in the anime, Yakura made great contributions to Sunagakur. But his achievements overshadowed his master. Because his achievements were too dazzling, he threatened the position of Kazekage. 4th Kazekage Luasha and Sand Shinobi high-level officials jointly decided to use him as a bargaining chip for reconciliation with Kirigakur, which led to Yakura being sacrificed and killed by Kirigakur ninjas. Uchiha Liunian's eyes flashed. Now the god-level entry system has awakened. You can refresh it for yourself and your wife once a month for free. Which means, now you have a chance to refresh the entry. And if you refresh the entry for your wife, the system does not stipulate that he can only have one wife, right? Hehe. In the future, I can become stronger by relying on the entries. And my wives can also benefit from it. Chapter 3. At this time, seeing Uchiha Liunian trapped in the barrier and motionless, the elite sand shinobi led by Yeking smiled knowingly and were not so anxious for the time being. Anyway, the air in the barrier was filled with a brand new colorless and odorless poison specially made by Master Cho. The Uchiha Liunian in front of him could resist for a while with his strong physical fitness, but, if it lasted a little longer, he would definitely not be able to resist. By then, they would be able to capture the Uchiha clan's physical genius, Uchiha Liunian, without bloodshed. Uchiha Liunian, you can't escape now. Yeking crossed his arms and showed a hint of interest. This time she caught a big fish. After she returned, she would definitely be praised by Master 4th Kazekage and would be reused. If she could affect the large Konoha shinobi army on the Kikyo mountain battlefield, it would be even better. On the other side, not good. I feel my body is beginning to be affected. Uchiha Liunian, who was originally in deep thought, felt that his body was beginning to show abnormalities of poisoning, and his face suddenly became solemn. However, just as Uchiha Liunian was thinking, he suddenly glanced at the corner of his eyes, and was stunned there. On the bodies of the dead Uchiha ninjas, there were flashes of various colors, as if they would go out and disappear at any time. Ding! A large number of entries that can be fused or decomposed are found: pride and confidence, purple, X29, Rebellious Independence, Purple, X29, Fire Style Proficiency, Blue, X20, Yin Dun Proficiency, Blue, X20, Lightning Style Proficiency, Blue, X9, Body Flicker Technique Proficiency, Blue, X6, Shadow Clone Proficiency, Blue, X8, Shuriken Proficiency, Blue, X10, 3 Tomo Sharingan, Blue, X9, 2 Megatama Sharingan, Green, X20, Yin Dun Entry, White, X20, Wind Style Entry, White, X13, Water Style Entry, White, X6, Earth Style Entry, White, X21, Taijutsu Entry, White, X16. No wonder we were almost wiped out. It turns out that we are too proud and confident and rebellious and independent. Looking at the flashing entries, Uchiha Union was secretly shocked. Relatively speaking. Although he did not open Sharingan. But, he had too many entries with good attributes. As for fusion, he did not intend to fuse any items such as pride and confidence, rebellion and independence, 3 Tomo Sharingan, and 2 Megatama Sharingan. On the one hand, it is most suitable for him to open his eyes and evolve by upgrading the items. On the other hand, it is the influence of fusion of pride and confidence and rebellion and independence on his personality. Just thinking about it makes people's scalp numb. Of course, ninjutsu items can be fused. Anyway, he is an idiot in ninjutsu. It is perfect to fuse other people's ninjutsu items and achieve progress. However, just as Uchiha Union was thinking, the fallen items began to flash violently, as if they were about to disappear at any time. Not good. It seems there is a time limit. Although you are all dead, you will live forever in my items. Loot all. Uchiha Union did not hesitate and hurriedly gave a silent order. The next moment, countless items that only Uchiha Union could see merged into his body. Among them, the items with more ninjutsu items were selectively fused one by one. The rest were all decomposed into entry experience. Then, after integrating some ninjutsu entries, Uchiha Union, who was originally a ninjutsu idiot, suddenly felt that he had opened his eyes, as if an invisible shackle in his body was opened, and he quickly mastered Yin Dun, Fire Style, and Lightning Style. Especially the integration of Yin Dun. Uchiha Union's mental power began to increase significantly. Yet, sensing that he was not a ninjutsu idiot, Uchiha Union's eyes flashed, and he tried to use the mental power of Yin Dun to activate Sharingan, but found that there was still no sign of opening his eyes. It seemed that the mental power improved by Yin Dun was still a little short. This is strange. Uchiha Union showed a puzzled look. And then he helplessly checked how much experience he had. Host, Uchiha Union. Age, 18 years old. Identity, Taijutsu Ninja of the Uchiha clan. Experience, 101,772. Note, White, 1,000, Green, 10,000, Blue, 100,000, Purple, 10,000, Orange, 10 million, Gold, 100 million, Red. Attribute entries, 8 Inner Gates, Orange, Charm, Blue, Extraordinary Physique, Blue, Ninja 6 Styles Proficient, Blue, Fire Style Proficient, Blue, Yin Dun Proficient, Blue, Shadow Clone Proficient, Blue, Body Flicker Technique Proficient, Blue, Shuriken Proficient, Blue, Lightning Style Proficient, Blue, Intermediate Chakra, Armament Color, Haki, Blue, Sharingan, White, etc. Experience, 101,772. These experiences are enough to make a blue entry evolve into a purple entry. Perfect. Uchiha Union glanced at his entry and breathed a sigh of relief. There is nothing to say. Since it is possible to upgrade the entry, it must be upgraded to improve the combat effectiveness. If you upgrade the extraordinary physique, blue, to the purple entry, there should be unexpected gains. Ding! Host, are you sure you want to spend 100,000 entry experience to evolve the extraordinary physique, blue, into the purple entry? Sure. Uchiha Union answered silently without hesitation. Ding! Congratulations host, you spent 100,000 entry experience to evolve the extraordinary physique, blue, into the steel bone, purple. Ding! Due to the uncontrollable chemical reaction with the intermediate chakra, armament color, haki, blue, ninja 6 style proficiency, blue, and other abilities during the evolution process, the steel bone, purple, began to upgrade. Ding! Congratulations host, your iron bones, purple, have been upgraded to steel balloon, orange. Term, steel balloon. Quality, orange. Effect, born with terrifying strange power, an extremely powerful defense, the body is not only not easy to get hurt, but also has the ability to recover quickly. Buzz. At the moment when the orange light term steel balloon appeared, Uchiha Union felt that his body had undergone a transformation from the inside out, and a warm current surged out, causing the 130 trillion cells in his body to tremble wildly. Boom! Without any signs, a terrifying breath wave came from Uchiha Union swept out, causing the octagonal barrier to tremble a few times. Chapter 4. FK. How is it possible? He seems to have made a breakthrough. The sudden change shocked Yekeng and other sand shinobi, especially when they saw the aura fluctuations that erupted from Uchiha Union's body shaking the barrier. Their eyes almost popped out. Hey! Are you kidding? Under such circumstances, can Uchiha Union make a breakthrough? What's going on? Yekeng was also stunned and almost dropped his jaw. You know. This time, the colorless and odorless poison that Elder Cho gave that could permeate the air. Even the elite Jainin would be greatly affected. I thought it was normal for Uchiha Union to be strong in physical skills and last a little longer, but I didn't expect him to break through. You can tell without thinking. Is this the rhythm of becoming a cage-level physical ninja? When he thought of this, Yekeng couldn't help but sweat on his forehead, and his body unconsciously entered a fighting state. A cage-level physical ninja is a nightmare for most ninjas. The third Raikage of Cloud Shinobi Village, who is known as the strongest in history, is a living example. Now the Uchiha of Konoha Village Uchiha has also broken through, which means that the strength will undergo a transformation. On the other side, Uchiha Union showed a surprised look when sensing the influence of the orange steel balloon on his body. He had broken through now. Not only that, the quantitative change led to qualitative change, and the 6 styles of ninja, blue, also evolved into the 6 styles of ninja grandmaster, purple, and the intermediate chakra, armament color, haki, blue, also evolved into the advanced chakra, armament color, haki, purple. At the same time, his body also uncontrollably awakened a primary conqueror's haki, green, item. With his extremely powerful body after the transformation, he was completely immune to the colorless and tasteless poison in the air. Now I should be able to blow up this barrier with one punch, right? Uchiha Union's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and he unconsciously clenched his fists, and the chakra, armament color, haki wrapped around his body surged wildly. Compared with just now, the invisible pressure has increased at least 10 times. Ding! Host, you still have a chance to draw a free entry once a month. Please choose whether to draw randomly. After hearing this, Uchiha Union, who was ready to explode, was stunned for a moment, and ordered silently without hesitation, draw. Ding! The entry is being randomly drawn, drawing. Ding! Congratulations host, you have obtained a brand new black entry, Book Thunder, do you want to merge it? What? Is it so outrageous? What kind of entry is this? Looking at the book Thunder entry flashing with a black glow, Uchiha Union was completely dumbfounded. The god-level entry system is so terrifying. It is completely unconventional. He was still thinking about what new entries he would draw, but he didn't expect the system to directly come up with a phantom-level King Bomb entry, Book Thunder. As we all know, Raikage is not interested in women, but because of his skin color and extremely strong body, he was ruined. He has dark skin, yellow hair, uncle, strong body, high official position, rich, and his brother is also a rapper. Therefore, in general, facing female ninjas, the buffs of Book Thunder are stacked up. This is also the case. Entry, Book Thunder. Quality, Black. Effect, anyone who is related to women will not be able to compete with him. Even if he is powerful, he can only watch the recording at the door. Is it worthy of being a black entry above gold? Hey! Looking at the system prompt. Even Uchiha Union, who had been a little mentally prepared, took a breath of cold air. With this concept level entry, even if Tsutsuki Kagaya jumped out of the seal, I'm afraid he would have to kneel on the ground and sing conquer, eat fried dough sticks, and have no power to fight back. There's no way. Concept level entries are so unreasonable. Seeing Uchiha Union standing there in a daze, Yakang and other elite sand shinobi who had already entered the battle state were all puzzled. What happened? Why did Uchiha Union stand there without moving? Opportunities are rare and never come back. Yakang seemed to have thought of something. As her chakra surged, 4 fireballs like miniature suns appeared around her with a frightening power. Quickly open a hole. As the voice fell, Yakang suddenly waved his hand. Whoosh! 4 blazing fireballs suddenly flew out, emitting a frightening white light. In contrast, a hole quickly opened in a corner of the barrier, allowing 4 blazing fireballs to rush in. Seeing this scene, the sand shinobi at the scene all breathed a sigh of relief and smiled teasingly. Trapped in this barrier, facing the scorch style that Yakang boss had caught, even the 4th Kazekage would be in a mess, not to mention the others. Even if Uchiha Union had just broken through, he would still struggle in vain and could not escape the fate of being captured. The blood limit scorch style is indeed a bit tricky. Uchiha Union looked at the 4 blazing fireballs attacking him and showed a confident look. If he hadn't broken through, he would still be exhausted from dealing with it. Now that he has broken through and has 3 purple entries for physical skills, he doesn't need to dodge anything at all. He can just rely on his strong body to get through. So, in the next moment, something that shocked everyone to the ultimate happened. Boom! 4 blazing fireballs bombarded Uchiha Union's body, and an extremely terrifying energy shock wave erupted. Perhaps the shock wave was too strong, causing the barrier to begin to crumble, and the 8 Jainin who maintained the barrier all changed their expressions, trying their best to maintain the stability of the barrier. In the central area, the dust was so thick that it was a little unclear. However, a figure could be vaguely seen standing there proudly, as if it was not affected at all. No. It seems to be completely fine. How is it possible that he relied on his body to resist the scorch style of Lord Yakang, and he didn't seem to be injured? A series of uproars rang out, and the pupils of each sand shinobi shrank violently, revealing a trace of disbelief. They were really shocked. Something is wrong. Even Yakang showed a look of surprise, and the chakra in her body suddenly surged like a conditioned reflex, and she was going to use her ultimate move Scorch style oversteaming explosion kill. If it still doesn't work, then all the sand shinobi will attack together. However, it was a little late. At the moment of being attacked, Uchiha Union had already merged his first black entry, Book Thunder. The charming, blue, entry exploded instantly. Because of the appearance of the Book Thunder entry, the so-called attraction to women can no longer be described in words. It belongs to the concept level ability. The entry steel balloon was strengthened again. Although it was still orange, it made multiple organs in the body strengthened again and became extremely terrifying, especially the kidneys, which achieved a sublimation, with the taste of endless life and immortality. This book Thunder entry is really so terrifying. The only good news is that I didn't become a big muscle, my skin didn't turn black, and my hair didn't turn yellow. Sensing his body that had transformed again, Uchiha Union was in an extremely excited state. He looked directly at Yekeng, who was accumulating a big move. He wanted to experiment on Yekeng to see how terrifying the book Thunder entry was. The dust began to dissipate. Buzz! Yekeng, who was about to use the ultimate move Scorch style oversteam explosion kill. Just being glanced at by Uchiha Union from a distance, a blush appeared on her cheeks, and her soul trembled a few times. For some reason, her body began to drool uncontrollably. Chapter 5. No. How could this happen? How could Uchiha Union's invisible charm surge so much? As an elite Jainin, Yekeng was completely in a state of disbelief. Her consciousness was still clear, but her body was completely out of control. For a moment, it seemed that even her soul was full of love and obsession with Uchiha Union, and she wanted to devote everything to Uchiha Union. What made Yekeng unbelievable was that she had lost the courage and impulse to attack again. Also, she didn't dare to speak at all. She could only tighten her arms and legs, fearing that she would be exposed if she spoke, which would be a huge shame. Boss Yekeng, what's wrong with you? Boss Yekeng, should we work together? Something is wrong, why don't we work together, make a quick decision, and kill Uchiha Union? The elite sand shinobi at the scene did not seem to notice that Yekeng was wrong, but their expressions became more solemn and serious. Originally, they wanted to take down Uchiha Union without bloodshed. But now it seems that it is not possible. The poison carefully developed by Cho seems to be useless for Uchiha Union. There is no other way. They can only work together. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. In response to these sand shinobi, Yekeng collapsed on the ground, seeming to be trying his best to endure something. What? Not good. Lord Yekura seems to have encountered an illusion attack. Step back for now. Seeing this scene, several sand shinobi behind Yekura were shocked and jumped back, looking at Lord Yekura, who seemed to be under an illusion with doubt. As for checking the specific situation, if you can't guarantee your own safety, forget it, right? After all, they are subordinate to the current Kazekage of Sunagakuer, Lord Rosa. And Yekura has a high reputation in Sunagakuer over the years and is also a hero of Sunagakuer. After the disappearance of the third Kazekage, he did not clearly express his loyalty to Lord Rosa, who had just taken office. So, this time, the fourth Kazekage hinted that if Yekura had an accident, they would definitely be praised by Lord Rosa. Originally, she was expecting someone to help her. But Yekura didn't expect that all her men retreated more than 10 meters and had no intention of coming to help. It's terrifying to think about it. This is a bit intriguing. FK. Is the black entry of the book Thunder really pervert? Just a glance at elite Jainin Yakura from a distance made her lose her combat power uncontrollably. It's worthy of a concept-level ability. On the other side, Uchiha Union, who was in the barrier, was in an excited state after integrating the book Thunder entry. And the invisible influence and effect of the book Thunder entry on women is more terrifying and terrible than imagined. So, after seeing what happened to Yekeng, Uchiha Union's mouth slightly curved up, and he said in a light voice, "Yekeng, it seems that someone from Sunagakuer wants you to die." What? After hearing this, Yekeng, who was originally drooling, was shocked, and a trace of disbelief flashed in his confused eyes. She was diligent and loyal to Sunagakuer, and was also a hero of Sunagakuer. She was waiting to make great contributions to Sunagakuer in the Third Ninja World War and work hard for the rise of Sunagakuer. But what happened? Someone from Sunagakure's upper echelons actually wanted her to die? When he thought of this, Yekeng rarely suppressed the influence of the book Thunder on her, and stood up with all her might. Her flushed cheeks flashed with an undisguised coldness. She looked at the elite sand shinobi behind her, but found that the sand shinobi who were usually respectful to her avoided her eyes, and no one dared to look at her. What's the matter? Yekeng showed a painful look. Aren't you going to say anything? Lord Yekeng, I'm sorry. After hearing this, one of the elite Jainin of Sand Shinobi showed a helpless look and said, just now I saw that you seemed to be under an illusion. We are just on the safe side and have no other intentions. No other intentions. Yekeng's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness, and he said in a shocking way, is it the fourth Kazekage Rosa? Silence. As soon as this sentence came out, the elite sand shinobi at the scene all fell into silence. They had no choice for many things. They could have remained calm, but now it seemed that they were going to tear their faces apart. In this case, several of the elite Jainin looked at each other, and they could see the resoluteness in their eyes. Since they have all discovered it, there is no need to pretend. Now that Lord Raza has just taken office, Yekeng, the dissident who is unwilling to return, can take this opportunity to get rid of him. It can also be blamed on the genius of Konoha village, Uchiha Union. Why? Yekeng showed a dejected and confused look. She thought she was worthy of Sunagakure and was willing to work hard for the rise of Sunagakure. This time, she secretly sneaked into the territory of the Land of Fire, and she took the initiative to ask for it. But she didn't expect that the fourth Kazekage Rosa would actually attack her. Please. Now that the Third Ninja World War has broken out, the Battle of Kikyo Mountain is still in a stalemate. Is it really the job of a Kazekage to eliminate dissidents at this time? I don't know, I don't understand. Yakura felt that her faith in the investigation had collapsed. She just felt that the disappearance of the third Kazekage was very abnormal, and she had to investigate it thoroughly. She also made a clear statement to the fourth Kazekage Rosa that she was loyal to Sunagakure. Will she be liquidated like this? As expected, those who can become Kage are all very capable. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Union in the barrier did not change his expression at all. What Luasha did was child's play. The F4 of Konoha village was the most outrageous. Before the Third World War began, they made Hitaki White Fang, who was famous in the ninja world, commit suicide. For White Fang, Uchiha Union still admired it very much. It's a pity. After such a person was hit by the Konoha high level, the will of fire collapsed and he couldn't bear it and committed suicide. Do it. However, at this moment, the expressions of the elite Jainin of the Sand Shinobi did not fluctuate at all, and said, the plan has changed. We will do our best and then retreat. The Konoha Shinobi on Mount Kikyo should be able to detect the movement here soon. Okay. Before the words fell, the Sand Shinobi at the scene began to push back one after another, and their hands began to enter the state of seals as the chakra in their bodies surged. However, boom! They wanted to do it. But Uchiha Union's speed of action was faster. The black chakra haki wrapped around his fist, and his whole body surged with an extremely powerful and sharp momentum, and his body flashed and swung his fist. I have a punch that can blow up everything. Boom! Under the unbelievable gaze of the Sand Shinobi at the scene, the standing octagonal yellow light curtain barrier was blown up by Uchiha Union's punch, and an extremely terrifying energy shock wave erupted. Chapter 6. Puff! Puff! At the moment when the barrier was blown up, the faces of the 8 Sand Shinobi Jainin suddenly changed. They couldn't help but spit out a large mouthful of blood due to the backlash of chakra. Their bodies were also hit by the energy shock wave and flew backwards, hitting the ground hard. Silence! The sudden change made the ninjas of the Sand Shinobi surprise attack team at the scene show incredible expressions. What's going on? Even if Uchiha Union broke through, how could his strength increase so much? The barrier cast by the 8 Janin was actually blown up by a punch. Even the powerful third Raikage couldn't become so perverted in the blink of an eye, right? Among the people present, who was most shocked, it was undoubtedly Ye King of Scorch style from Sand Shinobi village. To put it bluntly, the barrier cast by 8 Janin together, even one tail could not break out in a short time, but now Uchiha Union blew it up with one punch. He just broke through, and he has the strength of the peak cage level? Is he so weird? Isn't this another monster comparable to the third Raikage? Ye Kang's hair stood on end. He wanted to move his body, but he found that he only glanced at Uchiha Union. He didn't know what was going on, but he seemed to be restrained. His body began to become weak again. His body and mind uncontrollably wanted to get close to Uchiha Union and accept the whip from Uchiha Union. Bang! The next second, Ye Kang's body collapsed on the ground again. She had no intention of attacking Uchiha Union at all. So, Ye Kang could no longer hold back. 4th Kazekage Luosha wanted to eliminate dissidents through the third battle. Her body was still attracted by Uchiha Union and she began to drool again. This was too tragic and powerless. Are you shocked? Hee hee. The good show has just begun. After blasting the barrier with one punch, Uchiha Union felt the incomparable power in his body and showed a proud look. This time, he came to the Kikyo Mountain battlefield to seek an opportunity for a breakthrough. It was really the right choice. The strength became stronger and more perverted. It was so cool. Swish! Almost at the next moment, Uchiha Union's body disappeared from the spot. Not good. One of the Sand Shinobi elite Jainin seemed to sense the crisis and began to quickly seal with his hands. Unfortunately, the seal was not completed yet. His body froze in place, and his hands were still in the seal position. A fist wrapped in black energy suddenly appeared, piercing his chest from behind, and blood spurted out in an instant. Feeling the pain in his body, the pupils of the Sand Shinobi elite Jainin shrank violently several times, revealing a trace of disbelief. He lowered his head slightly and found that the fist had disappeared, leaving a blood hole that kept spurting blood. How could it be? I can't react at all. He made the last sound with difficulty, and then he fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Seeing this scene, the remaining ninjas of the Sand Shinobi surprise attack team all changed their faces, and their eyes were flashing with horror. What's going on? How can it be so fast? Even some of the perception-type Sand Shinobi were a little dumbfounded. Because Uchiha Union's speed was too fast, and their perception could not keep up. However, it was meaningless even if their perception could keep up. A black light flashed. And 3 more Sand Shinobi Jainin had no time to react. And their bodies were punched with a bloody hole by Uchiha Union's fist, and they fell to the ground stiffly. No. How can the strength become so strong? Although the body had lost the ability to resist. Ye Kang's expression changed several times, and she looked at the dead Sand Shinobi in disbelief. And for some reason, looking at these dead Sand Shinobi, she still felt a little relieved in her heart. 4th Kazekage Rosa. You want to take advantage of the Third Ninja War to eliminate dissidents without anyone noticing. But now you are shooting yourself in the foot. This time, the Sand Shinobi surprise attack force personally released a physical monster from the Uchiha clan. Tremble! Tremble! Perhaps Ye King did not realize that. Under the influence of the thunder entry of Uchiha Union's book, she, the elite Jainin who made great contributions to Tsunagakuer, has gradually turned into the shape of Uchiha Union. At this time, boom boom! Continuous roars rang out. The detonating tags buried in this area were stepped on one by Uchiha Union's rapid movement, generating a series of explosive energy shock waves. Finally, Uchiha Union's body appeared in an open space, with an excited look on his face. It's so FG cool. After the upgrade of the item and the transformation of the body, his strength is no longer the same. Ninjas, fragile assassins, are like toy cars, which will break at the touch. Even elite Jainin can be beaten with one punch. No way. Let's attack together. If we continue like this, we will be defeated one by one. The remaining more than 70 sand shinobi gradually came to their senses, and looked at Uchiha Union with fear, as if they were looking at a monster. There was no way, Uchiha Union's slight move made them feel their whole body trembling. It felt like facing the third Raikage of Cloud Shinobi Village. Okay, then you all come together. Uchiha Union didn't care so much, and stood there proudly, with chakra, armament color, haki flowing all over his body. In a flash of black metal, he directly pushed his power to ultimate and rushed up suddenly. Things have developed to this point. Facing the full fire Uchiha Union. The remaining ninjas of the Sand Shinobi Surprise Attack Force, who have lost the initiative, have no choice but to bite the bullet and start to fight with all their strength. Boom! In an instant, the roar continued. As if the whole area was shaking like a landslide. Chapter 7. Boom! There was a continuous roar in an instant. And the area was shaking like a landslide. Dozens of ninjutsu flew around the scene. And Uchiha Union was like an invincible monster, bathing in black chakra haki, rushing through these messy ninjutsu. And wherever he went, he almost punched a sand shinobi. Monster! Our attacks are completely useless. Although the ninjas of the Sand Shinobi Surprise Attack Force had an absolute advantage in numbers, and the coordination between the ninjas was also very smooth, they were useless. Facing the current Uchiha Union, their attacks could not break the defense at all. Instead, screams continued to ring. Ah! Ah! Bang! 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 Just like a one-sided massacre. Clear explosions mixed with screams resounded. Many sand shinobi at the scene were blown up by the fists of the monster like Uchiha Union one after another. What shadow clone, body replacement technique, body flicker technique used? Only delayed the death time by 1 second. For a while, blood was gushing. The air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. In the end, the remaining 20 or so sand shinobi were scared. And their foreheads were sweating as they fled in all directions in panic. However, resistance had no chance of success. And running away would have no chance of survival. Comparing speed with the current Uchiha Union was purely seeking death. Ah! Ah! Screams rang out one after another. 3 minutes later, except for Yekeng who lost his combat power, the Sand Shinobi Surprise Attack Force was completely wiped out. What? This, they were wiped out. Just after breaking through, they perverted like this, is it so scary? What kind of monster is Uchiha Union? At this time, Yekeng was stunned for a while, and her heart was almost blank, feeling like she was dreaming. She never thought that this operation would be full of twists and turns, and she would be wiped out by Uchiha Union. Add to that the fourth Kazekage Rosa's secret elimination of dissidents. What is this? The clown turned out to be herself in the end? Not only was she a tool of Tsunagakuer, but now her body was attracted by Uchiha Union and lost control, and her love gushed out uncontrollably. 1 second. 3 seconds. 10 seconds. As time passed, Yekeng gave up struggling, her face began to become a little shy, and she just sat there. On the other side, after wiping out the ninjas of the Sand Shinobi Surprise Attack Team, Uchiha Union was in a state of excitement and anticipation. There was no other way. The dead Sand Shinobi had various colored points of light flickering on their bodies. Loot them all. Uchiha Union did not hesitate and hurriedly gave a silent command. Instantly, countless items began to flow into Uchiha Union's body. Similar to what happened just now. The ninjutsu items were selected and merged. And the rest were all decomposed into item experience. Perfect. Uchiha Union clenched his fists slightly and silently checked his latest attribute panel. Host, Uchiha Union. Age, 18 years old. Identity, Taijutsu Ninja of the Uchiha clan. Item experience, 227,872. Note, white, 1000, green, 10,000, blue, 100,000, purple, 10,000, orange, 10 million, gold, 100 million, black. Attribute entries, Book Thunder, black, 8 inner gates, orange, upgraded steel balloon, orange, advanced chakra, armament color, haki, purple, ninja 6 styles grandmaster, purple, Yindun proficiency, blue, fire style proficiency, blue, lightning style proficiency, blue, wind style proficiency, blue, shadow clone proficiency, blue, body flicker technique proficiency, blue, shuriken proficiency, blue, elementary conqueror's haki, green, sharingan, white, water style entry, white, earth style entry, white, etc. Another 200,000 plus item experience points have been credited. After a quick glance, Uchiha Union nodded silently, his eyes fell on his own attribute entries. Experience points. Then upgrade 2 more purple items. System, upgrade the elementary conqueror's haki, green, upgraded to purple. Ding. Host, are you sure you want to spend 110,000 experience points to evolve the primary conqueror's haki, green, into a purple one? Sure. Uchiha Union answered silently without hesitation. Ding. Congratulations host, you spent 110,000 experience points to evolve the primary conqueror's haki, green, into the advanced conqueror's haki, purple. Term, Advanced Conqueror's Haki, green. Quality, purple. Effect, a true overlord with both mind, skills, and body. Just by increasing the momentum, Haki can be fully dispersed. You can also wrap Conqueror's Haki around weapons or attacks, which will increase the attack power after wrapping. Buzz. At the moment when the primary Conqueror's Haki, green, successfully evolved. Without any sign, Uchiha Union's body surged with a huge momentum wave, sweeping in all directions. Perhaps it was too strong, causing all the clouds in the sky to collapse. All the weeds and trees to fall down, as if it was a tidal wave, and even the ground had cracks visible to the naked eye. This is the top Conqueror's Haki, ruling the ninja world. The heaven and earth surrender. Chapter 8. What? Is this the pressure of aura? At this time, Yekang, who was drooling and sitting on the ground, was the only one who could barely stay awake, but he was also sweating profusely, with a look of horror and fear on his face, looking at Uchiha Union in disbelief. Even if it was their missing third Kazekage, it was impossible for him to shatter the clouds in the sky and cause cracks to appear on the ground with just his aura. However, after releasing Conqueror's Haki a little, Uchiha Union fell into a state of indecision. Now the remaining entry experience is enough to upgrade a white entry to a purple entry. Originally, after integrating the blue entry of Yindun, he wanted to mobilize the powerful mental power to cooperate with the top Conqueror's Haki to see if he could open Sharingan, but found that it didn't work. Now the remaining 117,872 entry experience can completely upgrade Sharingan, white, directly to Manjiki Sharingan, purple. However, when he thought about the serious side effects of using Manjiki Sharingan, such as vision loss and blindness, mental stress and backlash, causing other physical discomfort, etc., Uchiha Union also fell into hesitation. As the system said, it is very difficult to open his Sharingan. Using the upgrade entry to open the eye and evolve is the best choice. Therefore, if you accumulate enough experience, you can upgrade Sharingan, white, to orange entry Eternal Mangeki Sharingan at once. By then, Eternal Mangeki Sharingan will be used without side effects. Wouldn't it be more fun? Then wait a little longer. Once the decisive battle of Kikyo Mountain breaks out, there will be no shortage of experience. System: upgrade fire style proficiency, blue, to purple entry. Ding! Host, are you sure you want to spend 100,000 experience to upgrade fire style proficiency, blue, to purple entry? Sure. Uchiha Union nodded resolutely. Ding! Congratulations host, you spent 100,000 experience to upgrade fire style proficiency, blue, to purple entry Fire Style Grandmaster, purple. Entry, Fire Style Grandmaster, purple. Quality, purple. Effect, Grandmaster can use various fire style ninjutsu, and the speed of forming seals is second only to clapping hands. Whatever you say will come true, and the power of fire style is increased by 20%. Buzz. At the moment when Fire Style Grandmaster, purple, successfully evolved, Uchiha Union, who had already mastered various fire style ninjutsu, had a deeper understanding of fire style. Just like he had practiced fire style for decades in seclusion, and had reached the level of being able to do it easily. Fire style Great Fireball Technique. Buzz. With chakra gathering behind his throat, Uchiha Union spewed a huge fireball from his mouth to the front, bombarding an open space dozens of meters away in front. Boom! A deafening roar sounded, and the explosion produced a powerful heat shock wave, which swept out and affected the entire area. The place that was bombarded left a deep pit with a diameter of about 10 meters. Finally I can perform ninjutsu. Looking at the power of the Great Fireball Technique, Uchiha Union nodded with satisfaction. It's good to have many skills. In the past, I had no choice but to stick to physical skills. Now, I don't have to worry about anything. I can use the God level entry system to become stronger in all aspects. No. Monster, Pervert, Konoha Village, and Uchiha clan leaders, are there problems with their brains? Is this AFG ninjutsu idiot? Yeking didn't know what to say anymore, and her heart was almost blank. She felt like she was having a nightmare and a wet dream. She never thought that Uchiha Union Taijutsu perverted, and even fire style could be performed. The speed of the seal and the power of the Great Fireball Technique could not be performed without 10 years of practice. It's all over. Uchiha Union couldn't help but smile, and then he looked at Yeking who was still slumped on the ground with a teasing look. The Book Thunder entry was indeed a little perverted. Elite Jainin like Yeking had no power to fight back. Now, he was going to experiment with the hidden power of the Book Thunder entry, and by the way, let Yeking pay a price that he would never forget. You. Bang. It seemed that he felt that he was being stared at. Yeking felt that his body was getting more and more excited, and the whole person was a little desperate. Succubus. Uchiha Union is a succubus. Swish. A sound of breaking through the air was heard. Uchiha Union's body disappeared from the spot. The next moment, Yeking, who was pale, weak, and helpless, was hugged by Uchiha Union. Buzz. In an instant, Yeking felt his mind go blank. What a bullshit Tsunagakuer, what a bullshit nightmare, she had thrown it all behind her, she was now completely addicted to Uchiha Union. 3 hours later, Uchiha Union happily walked out of a cave and stretched his muscles leisurely. He has already experimented with the concept level entry, the hidden function of the Book Thunder. After the intimate connection at a negative distance, Yeking will be 100% loyal to him. And also meet the system's so-called condition of refreshing a brand new entry for his wife every month. In short, Yeking is now completely in the shape of Uchiha Union. Master Union. A gentle voice of admiration sounded. Yeking, who was dressed, walked out of the cave with a face full of shame and anger. If you look closely, you will find that Yakang's legs are somewhat inconvenient to move, and there is still some blush on his cheeks. Looking at Yakang, Uchiha Liunian seemed to have thought of something, and said with a smile, "Since the fourth Kazekage is unkind, you don't have to be loyal to him." Humph! It would have been better if he didn't say it. As soon as he said it, a trace of dissatisfaction flashed across Yakang's cheek. "Rosa, this guy, just came to power and eliminated dissidents. I suspect that the disappearance of the third Kazekage is related to him. The third Kazekage has been made into a human puppet." After hearing this, Uchiha Liunian thought for a while before saying shockingly, "It was not Rosa who did it, but Chiyo's grandson Scorpion." "What? Scorpion assassinated the third Kazekage?" Yakang was completely dumbfounded, and Scorpion, who was naturally withdrawn and was known as a genius puppet stylist, appeared in his mind. After the disappearance of the third Kazekage, Scorpion betrayed Tsunagakur for no reason. Because of Cho and Ebaz, she didn't think much about it. She thought it was a conflict between the grandmother and grandson. Now, Yakang suddenly realized it. Chapter 9. Of course, after realizing it, Yakang's pretty face flashed a trace of dejection and powerlessness. What's the use of knowing it? The third Kazekage is dead, and Sasori has defected. This time, the Sand Shinobi surprise attack force was completely wiped out. Although 29 of the 30 Uchiha clan ninjas who came to reinforce the Konoha Shinobi force in Kikyo Mountain died, an Uchiha Liunian emerged who had completely conquered her body and mind. It can be predicted that once Uchiha Liunian joins the battle, the confrontation between the two armies in Kikyo Mountain will definitely be broken, and the victory will tilt towards Konoha village. Do you want to be the fifth Kazekage? The next second, Uchiha Liunian's mouth slightly curved, and he said in a light voice, "Yusu Nagakur is facing the Konoha village with a deep foundation. The victory or defeat is actually already determined. The first to launch the three wars is just to ease the sharp internal conflicts. The fourth Kazekage Rosa is also waiting to stabilize his position as the wind shadow through the three wars. Be the fifth Kazekage." Yakang's eyes flashed with a trace of expectation, and then quickly became dim. With her current strength, she is really not worthy of being the wind shadow. In addition, Luosha is deeply rooted in Tsunagakur, and even if he loses the three wars, he will not abdicate. As for Uchiha Liunian saying that Tsunagakur is bound to lose, she did not make any excuses. This time Tsunagakur and Konoha village went to war. On the one hand, the third Kazekage disappeared and the internal conflicts were sharp. On the other hand, they just wanted to take a gamble. What if they won? Tsunagakur can eat until he becomes a big fat man. Also, fourth Kazekage Luosha has his own little thoughts. "I can make you stronger." Uchiha Liunian smiled slightly and said something shocking. "What?" Yakang looked happy and said hurriedly, "Lord Luolei, can you help me break through to cage level?" "Yes." Uchiha Liunian nodded and said, "It's very simple, you just need to squat down and pick up something." Yakang showed a confused look. However, looking at Uchiha Liunian's half-smile, she, who had already sunk in body and mind, almost understood it in seconds. So, Yakang's face flushed, and he snorted and rolled his eyes at Uchiha Liunian. Then, he could not wait to lower his head to pick up something. "Hey!" Uchiha Liunian took a deep breath, and then silently ordered. "System, give me Yakang's free entry extraction opportunity." Ding! The entry is being randomly extracted. Ding! Congratulations host, Yakang has obtained a brand new purple entry, magnet-style blood limit, should she fuse it? Fortunately, a purple entry was drawn. After hearing this, Uchiha Liunian breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Fortunately, he drew a purple entry. which was still good luck. And once the magnet-style blood limit entry is fused, it means that Yekeng is also an elite Jainin with 2 blood limits, breaking through the cage level, which is basically a done deal. 1 second. 5 minutes. 20 minutes. As time passed bit by bit, until half an hour later, Uchiha Union's body burst out with a breath fluctuation. And after receiving this breath fluctuation, Yekeng, who had just stood up, covered his mouth and wanted to say something, but suddenly his eyes widened. What's going on? Is he just able to possess the magnet-style bloodline limit? No way. Wait a minute, wait a minute. After acquiring the magnet-style bloodline limit, Yekeng, who had already reached a bottleneck in his practice, can go one step further in a trance. Buzz. Without any signs, a violent chakra wave swept out from Yekeng's body, spreading in all directions, causing the air to tremble several times. Then, with Yekeng as the center, some iron sand and gold sand hidden in the rocks and soil around flew out, suspended around Yekeng's body. Snap! Yekeng snapped his fingers again. These iron sand and gold sand were blessed by the scorch style, and they all burned, causing the surrounding temperature to rise suddenly. Has he broken through to cage level? Looking at Yekeng, who had undergone a transformation, Uchiha Union showed a look of surprise. He thought Yekeng would need to practice a little to break through the bottleneck, but he didn't expect that. After integrating the terms of Magnet Style's bloodline limit, he would break through directly. And he could also use Scorch Style and Magnet Style together, which meant that Yekeng's strength had also been greatly improved. Swish! 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 A few seconds later, the gold and iron sand blessed by Scorch Style flew out and hit an open space dozens of meters away. Boom! A series of deafening roars sounded, and the energy shock wave surged out. Actually, the whole area was shaken several times. Thank you, Master Uchiha Union. Seeing this, Yekeng subconsciously clenched her fists, revealing an extremely excited look. She actually possessed a magnet-style bloodline limit, and under the interaction of the two bloodlines, she also happily broke through to the cage level. Isn't this amazing? Thinking of this, Yekeng looked at Uchiha Union with expectation and surprise, as if she had discovered a new world. She got the magnet style in one go, and if she came a few more times, wouldn't she become even stronger? Wait a minute. Seeing Yekeng's undisguised impulsive eyes, Uchiha Union hurriedly waved his hands and said, "There is only one chance a month, don't think too much." Ah! Yekeng subconsciously licked her lips, revealing an extremely disappointed look. She thought it could be infinite. However, she is already very satisfied to have obtained magnet-style blood limit and further advanced to cage level. Next, as long as she practices step by step and increases the amount of chakra, her strength, with the blessing of 2 blood limits, will definitely not be weak among cage-level ninjas. She is also confident to compete for the position of 5th Kazekage. 4th Kazekage Rosa, you were unkind first, don't blame me for being unjust now. I had no choice before, now I want to be a real Tsunagakuer hero. Thinking of this, Yekeng gritted his teeth and squatted down to pick up things again. Chapter 10. Kikyo Mountain. Backed by Kikyo Castle, an important town in the western border of the Land of Fire. After the outbreak of the Third Ninja World War, this place became the main battlefield for the battle between Konoha Village and Tsunagakuer. At present, the two sides have been fighting for more than half a month, and both have suffered casualties, and are still in a state of mutual confrontation for the time being. At this time, in the largest tent in the center of the Konoha camp on Kikyo Mountain, the commander-in-chief of the front line, Shimura Dans, and one of the deputy commanders of the Sunin, Orochimaru, are gathering here. The current situation is not favorable for our Konoha village, right? Shimura Dance glanced at an intelligence document in his hand, a gloomy look appeared on his cheeks, and he said, after the outbreak of the Third World War, in addition to Sunagakuer, Cloud Shinobi Village, Iwagakuer, and even Kirigakuer, which did not participate in the Second World War, have begun to prepare for battle. Once they all point their spearheads at Konoha village, the consequences will be somewhat serious. At this point, Shimura Dan stretched out his hand and rubbed his temples. In the First and Second Wars, Konoha village laughed to the end and won the final victory. Now that the Third Ninja War has just begun, Konoha village has become the target of public criticism. Now the Third Raikage, Third Tsuchikage, and Third Mizukage must be watching the Battle of Mount Kikyo between Konoha village and Sunagakuer. Orochimaru licked his lips and said in a serious tone, once Konoha village loses, Iwagakuer, Cloud Shinobi village, and Kirigakuer will definitely start to make trouble. More than that. After hearing this, Shimura Dan sighed and said, it is no exaggeration to say that the entire ninja world may be watching the Battle of Mount Kikyo. As long as we lose, other ninja villages may want to take a bite of fat meat from Konoha village. Silence. Orochimaru fell into silence. I thought the Battle of Mount Kikyo could be quickly resolved, but I didn't expect that Sand Shinobi would do his best and send more than 3 times the number of ninjas as Konoha, which made the situation stalemate. As for asking Konoha village to send more ninjas, a small-scale force is fine, but a large-scale force is definitely not possible. Because Konoha village also needs to guard against Cloud Shinobi village, Iwagakuer, Kirigakuer, Rain Shinobi village, etc. That's right. Suddenly, Orochimaru seemed to have thought of something and said, the Uchiha clan sent a team of 30 people. They should be here soon, right? Hehe, they are here to get gilded. Shimura Dans showed a disdainful smile and said, this time, the Uchiha clan's physical genius, Uchiha Liunion also applied to join them. Oh! Orochimaru showed a look of surprise and said, he is actually going to the Kikyo mountain battlefield. Yet. Shimura Dans nodded and said in a low voice, according to the information from the third Hokage, Uchiha Liunion seems to want to go to the battlefield to train and see if he can break through to the cage level. Really? Orochimaru showed a wicked look and didn't say much. He still had a deep impression of Uchiha Rainen. Not only did he not open the Sharingan, but he was also the first ninjutsu idiot. After practicing taijutsu, a ninja of the Uchiha clan became a taijutsu elite Jainin by accident. Unfortunately, it is not so easy to become a cage-level taijutsu ninja. Hehe, Shimura Dan smiled indifferently and said, an elite Jainin who specializes in taijutsu is already his limit. It is not so easy to break through the cage-level taijutsu master. Of course, Shimura Dans didn't say anything else, that is, Uchiha Rainen disrupted many arrangements of the Konoha village's top management. One of them was the hero-saving beauty plan carefully set up by the Konoha village's top management. As a result, Namikaze Minato was not caught in the trap yet. The Cloud Shinobi that they deliberately put into Konoha village were solved by Uchiha Liunion with one punch, making the hero saving the beauty plan a wedding dress for Uchiha Liunion. When he thought of this, Shimura Dans couldn't help but complain a few words in his heart. Evil Uchiha! How come there are so many freaks? The only thing that made Shimura Dans feel a little better was that now the Uchiha clan, the clan leader Uchiha Fusion and the great elder Uchiha Setsuna were divided into 2 factions. And they stood on the side of the 2 geniuses of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Liunion respectively. Among them, Uchiha Fugaku, who had already opened the 3 Tomo Sharingan, obviously had the upper hand. While Uchiha Liunion, as a physical skill elite Jainin, was at a disadvantage. It is said that many open-minded Uchiha clan ninjas don't look down on Uchiha Liunion, who hasn't even opened the Sharingan. The 29 Uchiha ninjas who came this time are all the clan leader, Uchiha Fusion, and an Uchiha Liunion who has not opened the Sharingan. I really hope you will have an internal fight and die on the way to the Kikyo Mountain battlefield. Shimura Dance took a sip of the teacup, and cursed viciously in his heart. Hee hee. Looking at Shimura Dance with a gloomy and uncertain expression, Orochimaru looked indifferent. Konoha's high-level officials and the Uchiha clan have always had conflicts. He was too lazy to care, and didn't want to get involved. Life is fragile. He just wanted to wait until the Battle of Kikyo Mountain was over, and then secretly do what he likes and tap into the hidden power contained in the human body. However, when Shimura Dance and Orochimaru were each thinking about their own things, a figure rushed into the tent, knelt on one knee in front of them, and reported anxiously, "Report to Lord Danzo, Lord Orochimaru, the support team sent by the Uchiha clan to Mount Kikyo seems to have been wiped out." Silence. The atmosphere in the field suddenly became solemn, especially Shimura Dance's heart skipped a beat. Is his curse so powerful? Then I want to be Hokage, why haven't I succeeded? Orochimaru's face changed suddenly after he reacted. Uchiha's support team was wiped out, which means that Sand Shinobi sneaked into the Land of Fire. Once it gets out, it will greatly affect the morale of the large Konoha Shinobi army in Mount Kikyo. In addition, the Uchiha clan in Konoha village will definitely have opinions. When did it happen? The next second. Orochimaru asked hurriedly. Today at noon. The contact ninja's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he urgently reported, "Our sensory ninja felt a terrifying breath that dispersed the clouds in the sky, so we sent ninjas to check it out. As a result, we found corpses all over the ground. There were Uchiha clan members and Sand Shinobi members. The scene was very bloody and tragic. According to our investigation of the scene, the Uchiha support team should have been ambushed. A large number of detonating tags were buried in that area, and there were poisonous gas residues in the air. But the strange thing is that we found that about 82 Sand Shinobi died through the inspection of the bodies, and they all had no heads. 29 Uchiha ninjas died." Bang! Bang! Before the voice fell, Shimura Dance and Orochimaru stood up suddenly, looking confused. What's wrong? Detonating talismans, poisoning, how come so many Sand Shinobi died? Something is wrong. It is extremely abnormal. Chapter 11. It seems that all the ninjas of the Uchiha clan were ambushed and killed, but all the Sand Shinobi were killed by someone. Either their heads were gone or their chests were pierced with a fist-sized blood hole. Looking at Orochimaru and Shimura Dance, who were in shock, the contact ninja still had a look of disbelief on his face, and added with a trembling voice, "According to our repeated confirmation, those Sand Shinobi should have been unilaterally crushed by a ninja who was good at physical skills. Among them, there were 29 Jonin and 53 Chunin. By the way, the heads of these Sand Shinobi seem to have been taken away by the person who did it." Speaking of this, the contact ninja wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and couldn't help swallowing carefully. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Orochimaru and Shimura Dance, who were already in a state of horror, hurriedly shook their heads, and their eyes flashed with a look of complete disbelief. They are not fools or idiots. There are 30 Uchiha ninjas in total, and 29 of them died. The victorious 82 Sand Shinobi were killed by a Taijutsu ninja. There is no need for the contact ninja to report. Orochimaru and Shimura Dance knew the underlying meaning he wanted to express. There are 30 Uchiha ninjas in total, and now 29 of them are dead. The one who is not dead is most likely Uchiha Rainen. Not only is he not dead, he also killed 82 Sand Shinobi with Taijutsu. This is a joke. If it was the third Raikage who is good at Taijutsu, Orochimaru and Shimura Dance would still believe it, but Uchiha Rainen is just a Taijutsu elite Jonin. Why? Orochimaru's expression became uncertain. The front battlefield was still in a stalemate, and now there was a problem in the rear. If we don't figure it out, if one thing leads to another, affecting the Kikyo Mountain battlefield, the consequences will be serious. Shimura-dan's face was also a little gloomy and cold. But most of it was disguised. The more evil Uchiha ninjas died, the better. The only thing that made him a little worried was whether Uchiha Liunian was dead or not. And who killed those sand shinobi? In any case, Shimura-dans would never believe that Uchiha Liunian did it. Increase the intensity of the investigation. After a while, Orochimaru took a deep breath and ordered in a deep voice, "Mobilize more sensory ninjas and make sure to investigate what happened." "Yes, Lord Orochimaru." After hearing this, the contact ninja was shocked and wanted to turn around and leave with his head down. "No need." Swish! A sound of breaking through the air was heard. Before Orochimaru and Shimura-dans could react, Uchiha Liunian's body appeared in the tent. Perhaps because the speed was too fast, many perceptive ninjas of the Konoha shinobi army had not yet sensed that there was already one more person in the tent. Buzz! Facing the sudden appearance of one more person, Orochimaru and Shimura-dans almost reflexively released a terrifying aura. But, after seeing the person clearly, Orochimaru and Shimura-dan's eyes suddenly shrank several times, their heads began to buzz, and their hearts were surging and shaking, and then they became blank. "What? Whatever you say, it will happen." They don't believe that Uchiha Liunian killed 82 Sand Shinobi of the Sand Shinobi Surprise Attack Force. Now, Uchiha Liunian relied on his powerful body to burst out with terrifying speed, and entered the general command tent in the central area of the Konoha Shinobi force without anyone in sight. This also indirectly shows that Uchiha Liunian has broken through, his strength has become stronger, and he has become a real cage-level physical ninja. As for the contact ninja, he has already fallen into a state of stagnation and shock, and can't say anything at all. Not good. Enemy attack, enemy attack. Quick, quick, someone broke into the tent where Lord Orochimaru and Lord Danzo were meeting. At this moment, a series of extremely horrified uproars rang out. And in an instant, accompanied by waves of chakra, the ninjas of the Konoha shinobi army came from all directions with panic on their faces. Surrounding the tent where Orochimaru and Shimura-dans were meeting with 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, and countless doubtful eyes were gathered on the tent in the central area. They were waiting for the order from Lord Orochimaru and Lord Shimura-dans. As long as the order was given, the whole army would attack and take down the intruder directly. 1 second. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. As time passed by little, inside the tent, but no sound came out, which made the atmosphere solemn and depressing to the ultimate. Many Konoha shinobi had cold sweat on their foreheads, and some even swallowed their saliva carefully. The mysterious ninja broke into the commander-in-chief's tent as if he was in an empty space. It was obvious that his strength should not be underestimated. At this time, in the tent, even the well-informed Orochimaru and Shimura-dans had not come back to their senses. They really didn't believe it at all, but the facts were in front of them, and they seemed to have to believe it. However, Uchiha Liunian, who had just arrived, didn't care about that. Instead, he found a seat and sat down, picked up the teacup and poured a cup of tea leisurely. While drinking, he glanced at Orochimaru and Shimura-dans. He checked the entries they had. Ninja, Orochimaru. Identity, one of the Sunin. Attribute entries, Mad Scientist, Orange, Gifted, Purple, Master of Ninjutsu, Purple, Ambitious, Purple, Immortality Seeker, Purple, Knowledgeable, Blue, Androgynous, Green, etc. Exclusive concept entry of Nothingness, Orochimaru who is not sick, Orange, if there were no physical illness and side effects of various experiments, Orochimaru would be even better. Mad Scientist, Orange. The exploration of ninjutsu goes beyond the traditional boundaries and introduces the thinking mode of scientific experiments into ninjutsu research. Gifted, Purple. He has shown extremely high talent since he was a child and was praised by 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen as a genius once in a century. Master of Ninjutsu, Purple Grand Master has many ninjutsu and profound attainments in ninjutsu. Ambitious, Purple he desires to obtain powerful power and immortality to control the world. Eternal life seeker, Purple he is deeply disturbed by the fragility of life, so he has been pursuing immortality all his life. Knowledgeable, Blue he has a very extensive knowledge of ninjutsu. Androgynous, Green gender differences are just stumbling blocks on the road to success. Ninja, Shimura Dance. Identity, Leader of the Root of Konoha Village. Attribute entries, Dark of Konoha, Orange, Ambitious, Purple, Inferiority and Arrogance, Purple, Wind Style Grandmaster, Purple, Seal Grandmaster, Purple, Good at Hiding, Blue, etc. Exclusive Nihilistic Concept Entry, Reason Danzo, Orange. If you can have enough reason and not be dominated by ambition and desire, you will become more powerful, difficult, and terrifying. Dark of Konoha, Orange doing all kinds of unknown things for Konoha in the dark, full of blood, violence, cruelty, and coldness. Inferiority and conceit, Purple living under the shadow of 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen for a long time, inferiority and extremely conceited. Wind Style Grandmaster, Purple mastering powerful and Grandmaster Wind Style Ninjutsu, one of the best in the entire ninja world. Ambitious, Purple always eager to become Hokage, and do whatever it takes to achieve this. Seal Master, Purple mastering many powerful sealing techniques. Good at hiding, Blue always hiding his true intentions and strength, and will not easily reveal until the critical moment. Chapter 12. After a quick glance, Uchiha Liunion's expression remained unchanged on the surface, but his heart was shaken with surprise. As for the attribute entries of Orochimaru and Shimura Dan's, he just took a quick look, and they were similar to what he imagined. But the exclusive concept entry of nothingness made Uchiha Liunion look extremely surprised. A healthy Orochimaru and a rational Danzo, both exist only in the concept, and now through the God-level entry system, it can be seen, which is really incredible. Doesn't that mean that he can also see the concept entries of healthy Itaki, intelligence Jiraiya, home Minato, girl Kagaya, experience Madara, head kick Guy, will identification Obito, etc. through the God-level entry system? Well, these are not the most important. He is more curious about whether the book Thunder entry he has can deal with the concept God entry Butsudan Sakura and Girl Kagaya entries. However, when he saw the entry about Orochimaru being androgynous, Uchiha Liunion suddenly couldn't hold back. Uncle Snake and Aunt Snake are really not his type. Subconsciously, he restrained his damn charm, fearing that Orochimaru would be affected by the book Thunder and wanted to go for the man. However, Uchiha Liunion didn't know why. The first impression Orochimaru had when he saw him was that he was still charming. And he was his type. However, now Orochimaru hadn't turned into Ant Snake. And he quickly reacted and showed an unbelievable look. Illusion. I was definitely affected by the invisible illusion. She was actually interested in men. This Uchiha Liunion, even if he hadn't awakened the Sharingan, didn't seem to be a simple character. Hey! Thinking of this, Orochimaru took a deep breath first, showed a wicked smile, and said, Liunion-jun, long time no see. Before, Orochimaru always called Uchiha Liunion by his name. Now that he has strength, he has become Liunion-jun and is placed on the same level. Hee. After hearing this, Uchiha Liunion took another sip of tea leisurely and said in a light voice, A Sand Shinobi surprise attack force of more than 80 people sneaked into the back of Kikyo Mountain. It is indeed almost impossible to meet. Orochimaru's expression froze for a moment, and he could only smile awkwardly. Uchiha Liunion. Shimura Dance also reacted and said in a questioning tone, Did you really kill more than 80 elite Sand Shinobi? After hearing this, Uchiha Liunion sighed and pretended to be sad and said, After being ambushed by Sand Shinobi, the Uchiha ninjas who were traveling with me suffered heavy casualties. I was about to give up. Fortunately, I turned my grief and anger into strength and broke through at the critical moment, and killed more than 80 elite sand shinobi in seconds. No. Shimura Dan's gloomy face was still full of doubts, and he said in a doubtful tone, even if you broke through, you can't kill more than 80 elite sand shinobi? Unless you awaken Mangeki Sharingan. Speaking of this, Shimura Dan stared at Uchiha Liunian with a torch-like gaze. Of course. Shimura Dan still had one more word to say. That is, all the Uchiha ninjas clearly stand on the side of the clan leader, Uchiha Fusion. They are just teammates on the surface. Uchiha Liunian will never turn grief and anger into strength. If you don't believe me, forget it. My Sharingan still doesn't work. Hee. Sand Shinobi sneaked into the back and stole the house. You didn't notice it at all. Uchiha Liunian shrugged indifferently and said in a calm voice, anyway, 29 Uchiha clan ninjas died this time. As the commander-in-chief of Kaikyoyama, you have to bear the main responsibility. What? Shimura Dan's widened his eyes in anger and said, you Uchiha ninjas are arrogant and arrogant. You didn't find your own reasons after being ambushed, but blamed me. What else? Uchiha Liunian's mouth corners slightly curved, and said, this time I wiped out the Sand Shinobi surprise attack team, and I have to take credit for it. Don't go too far. Shimura Dan's couldn't suppress the angry expression on his cheeks anymore, and pointed at Uchiha Liunian, you are not worthy of bargaining with me. I will investigate this matter thoroughly instead of listening to your one-sided words. I said the same thing again. If you hadn't awakened Mangeki Sharingan, it would be impossible to unilaterally crush the elite Sand Shinobi. Do you really think you are the third Raikage? There must be some unknown secrets in this. Speaking of this, Shimura Dan seemed to feel that he had taken the initiative, and a sneer finally appeared on his gloomy cheeks. He is the leader of the Konoha route and the commander-in-chief of the large force of Konoha shinobi in Kikyo Mountain. No matter what status Uchiha Liunian has, even if his strength has become stronger, he does not need to give Uchiha Liunian any face. Orochimaru did not speak, just standing there quietly. He was very curious. What would Uchiha Liunian do? Now, Shimura Dan's, the commander-in-chief of the Konoha shinobi army in Kikyo Mountain, wants to use his power to suppress others. Unless the third Hokage comes, there is really no way. Who told Shimura Dan's to have a high status and identity in Konoha village? In a sense, he, one of the Sunin, cannot compare. As for the contact ninja, he has no idea what he is thinking. He only has one thought in his heart, who am I? Where am I? I have forgotten everything that happened in the tent. Okay. Then I will prove my strength. Let Lord Danzo know what level I am. Before he finished speaking, Uchiha Liunian, who was originally smiling, had become extremely teasing, and slowly put down the teacup in his hand, and a sound of breaking through the air sounded, and Uchiha Liunian's body disappeared from the spot. Not good. Shimura Dan's had never thought that Uchiha Liunian would attack without saying anything. When he was about to activate chakra to counterattack, he found that the distance was too close. And Uchiha Liunian was too fast, so he was too late. Pa! A crisp slapping sound was heard. Shimura Dan's old face twisted for a while, and was slapped away by a slap, piercing through the tent and smashing out fiercely. Chapter 13. What? Seeing Shimura Dan's being slapped away, Orochimaru, who was watching the show, was completely stunned. His eyes widened and he was shocked. No, he just started fighting. Uchiha Ryuan is a little too unconventional, isn't he? You know, this is the leader of Konoha village, the commander-in-chief of the Konoha shinobi army in Kikyo Mountain. You just started fighting without saying anything. Don't you think too much of Shimura Dan's? Of course, seeing that Shimura Dan's didn't even react, Orochimaru also had a new estimate of Uchiha Ryuan's strength? After all, Shimura Dan's strength is not weak. Facing Uchiha Ryuan's attack, he didn't react. I'm afraid he really broke through the bottleneck and killed more than 80 sand shinobi ninjas. Get out of the way. Something is flying out. As Shimura Dan's flew out, the Konoha shinobi who were surrounded outside the tent retreated reflexively. Bang! Shimura Dan's body hit an open space hard, accompanied by a puff of dust. Shimura Dan's old face on the left side was already red and swollen, and he appeared in front of the Konoha shinobi with a dusty face. Silence. The most feared thing is the sudden silence in the air. Especially the Konoha shinobi who just dodged the fastest, all showed dumbfounded expressions. If they had known that it was Master Danzo who flew out, they would definitely catch him steadily, instead of retreating and watching Master Danzo fall to the ground. Among them, some ninjas of the route could not help but rub their eyes, as if they had seen a ghost. But, the facts were in front of them. The high and mighty Lord Danzo seemed to have been slapped out by someone. FK. How did Lord Danzo fly out? No, Lord Danzo was beaten out. A few seconds later, some Jainin of the ninja army came back to their senses first. All of them showed extremely horrified expressions. They had never thought that Lord Shimura Dan's, the commander-in-chief of the Konoha shinobi army, would be beaten out. Who would be so bold and presumptuous? This is the rhythm of not taking Lord Danzo seriously at all? Cough cough. At this time, Shimura Dan's coughed heavily a few times, feeling the burning left face, clenched his fists, and the whole person was in a state of exasperation and uncontrollable anger. For so many years, no one has ever dared to slap him in the face so recklessly. They didn't give him any face at all. No, they didn't take him, a high-ranking Konoha official, seriously. What made Danzo even more terrified was that Uchiha Ryuan's strength was a little beyond his expectations. Even he didn't react. That meant that Uchiha Ryuan really broke through to become a cage-level taijutsu ninja. It was terrifying to think about it. A ninja from the Uchiha clan, who hadn't even opened the Sharingan, became a cage-level taijutsu ninja. If the Sharingan was opened to the Manjiki state in the future, would his overall strength be heaven-defying? Uchiha Ryuan, you are dead. No one can save you. The next second, Shimura Dan's took a deep breath and gritted his teeth and ordered, all Konoha shinobi, listen to my order, capture Uchiha Ryuan who committed insubordination. Ah! Catch Uchiha Ryuan. Could it be that Uchiha Ryuan knocked Lord Danzo out? After hearing this, the Konoha shinobi at the scene all showed extremely surprised expressions. They knew about Konoha's genius taijutsu ninja, Uchiha Ryuan. He was a genius second only to Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Fugaku, and Hyuga Hayashi. At a young age, he could rely on taijutsu to defeat Cloud Shinobi Jainin who sneaked into Konoha village to secretly capture Nine Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina. Now he actually attacked Lord Danzo again. Is this going to be a big deal? Of course. Thinking so, the Konoha shinobi at the scene have all entered a state of battle. Danzo is the commander-in-chief of the Konoha shinobi force after all. Although they have many doubts in their hearts, they have to obey orders. And the ninjas of the route, needless to say, the chakra fluctuations on their bodies have been surging wildly. However, at such a tense moment, okay, everyone disperse. Orochimaru walked out of the tent and said casually, it's just a misunderstanding, there is no need to make a big fuss. Hey! After hearing this, the ninjas of the Konoha shinobi force at the scene were all confused and stood stiffly in place. What's going on? The orders of Lord Danzo and Lord Orochimaru. Who should we listen to? Orochimaru. Shimura Dan's face became more and more gloomy. What do you mean? Nothing. Orochimaru paused for a moment, then said slowly, now our first task is to deal with the Sand Shinobi army. This is not the time for internal strife. We can't attack Uchiha Union. You. Shimura-dan's body trembled with anger. He pointed to his cheek and said, "Did I take this slap in vain? Hee. It must be in vain. Don't you believe that I wiped out the Sand Shinobi surprise attack team? Don't you say that you and I are not on the same level. I can only prove it well." Before Orochimaru spoke, Uchiha Union walked out of the tent with his arms folded across his chest, looking very calm and composed. "Just kidding. I didn't have the strength before. And by the way, I had to consider Uchiha Mikoto and Uzumaki Kushina, so I could only work hard to become stronger and keep a low profile. Now, the God-level entry system has awakened. And my strength has also undergone a revolutionary transformation. I can't keep a low profile, can I? If I keep a low profile when I am weak, and I keep a low profile when I am strong, then wouldn't the system have awakened in vain? So, there is no need to wrong myself. Just do whatever you want. As long as you are strong enough. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, will weigh the pros and cons himself." Chapter 14. Sharp-tongued. If you dare to attack me and don't take me, the leader of the root and the commander-in-chief of the Konoha Shinobi of Mount Kikyo seriously, then there is no room for recovery. When he thought of losing face in front of so many Konoha Shinobi, Shimura-dan's looked extremely cold and said in a cold tone, "I am the commander-in-chief of the Konoha Shinobi of Mount Kikyo, and I have absolute command power, so everyone, take action and capture Uchiha Union. Whoever doesn't take action will be punished by military law." Okay. After realizing Uchiha Rinan's strength, Shimura-dan's could no longer suppress his murderous intent, jealousy, fear, madness, and other emotions. The evil Uchiha clan had produced another super taijutsu genius, and they didn't take him, a high-ranking official in Konoha, seriously. Sorry, even if he would be punished by Sarutobi Hiruzen this time, he would capture Uchiha Rinan first and make him a piece of meat on the chopping board. He believed that Sarutobi Hiruzen would definitely support him in doing so. Orochimaru showed a helpless look. A higher rank can crush a lower rank. It was already his limit to speak first. Now Danzo had to issue orders as the commander-in-chief of the Konoha Shinobi army, so there was nothing he could do. Buzz. 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 Accompanied by waves of chakra, more than 50 root ninjas took the lead in entering the battle form, with a sense of being ready to attack at any time. Wait a minute. I advise you to think it over before giving the order. At this time, Uchiha Union took out a sealing scroll from his arm slowly, and with his chakra flowing, he formed a seal with his hands. Puff. After a flash of white smoke, more than 80 bloody heads fell to the ground. This time, the Uchiha reinforcement team was almost wiped out. Fortunately, I broke through at the critical moment and launched a strong counterattack. Uchiha Union pointed at the heads on the ground slowly, and said calmly, "Everyone has seen that the ninjas of the Sand Shinobi surprise attack force who sneaked into the back of Kikyo Mountain are all dead, including 3 elite Jonin, 27 Jonin, and more than 50 elite Chunin." Hiss! 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 Instantly, many Konoha shinobi around them widened their eyes and could not help but gasp. There were more than 80 heads, which gave people too much visual stimulation. What made many Konoha shinobi scalps numb was that the Sand Shinobi surprise attack force actually sneaked into the rear and destroyed a reinforcement Uchiha team. It just happened to stimulate Uchiha Union, a physical genius, and he wiped out the Sand Shinobi surprise attack force. This was a terrible record. Once it was spread, I am afraid that the whole ninja world would be shaken. So, in this situation, more than 50 root ninjas who had just burst out chakra and entered the combat state suddenly lost their fire and broke out in a cold sweat. They were not fools. Uchiha Union had started to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. If they took action, they would be overestimating their own strength. They could only look at Shimura-dan's with hesitation. you. Shimura Dan's expression also became uncertain. He calmed down instantly when he saw those heads with their eyes wide open. You know. They fought with the Sand Shinobi for such a long time. Not to mention the elite Jainin, even the casualties of the Jainin were very small. Almost all the dead were Genin and Chunin. The result was good. Uchiha Union killed 3 elite Jainin, 27 Jainin, and more than 50 elite Chunin at once. That means if the root ninjas take action, they will probably just be defeated. If the Konoha Shinobi's large army of ninjas attack, they will probably kill 1,000 enemies and lose 800 of their own. Danzo, why don't I use ninjutsu to compete with you? At this time, Uchiha Union seemed to have thought of something, and said meaningfully, if I lose, then I will let you hit that slap back. If you win, then you must bow your head and admit your mistake in front of so many Konoha Shinobi. Do you dare to compete? Are you sure you want to fight with ninjutsu? Hearing this, Shimura Dan's eyes flickered a few times, and he still said uncertainly, your Sharingan is really not open. Sharingan is indeed not open. Uchiha Union's hands were paralyzed, and he said slowly, I can't use any physical skills. We will decide the winner with ninjutsu. Orochimaru can be the referee. It seems that after your physical skills have broken through to cage level, you are also very confident in ninjutsu. Shimura Dan showed a sneer on his cold cheeks. As a Konoha village recognized as a ninjutsu idiot. Even if he could practice ninjutsu, he couldn't practice it very deeply all at once. Okay. Ninjutsu battle, come on, who's afraid of who? Thinking of this, Shimura Dan showed a confident look. Just kidding. His strength and ability are not weak. Especially his wind style, which is well known in the whole ninja world. He still doesn't believe that he can't beat a ninjutsu idiot. Everyone back off. Orochimaru also showed an interested look, and gestured to the ninjas of the Konoha Shinobi army on the scene. This Uchiha Union is getting more and more interested in him. Swish! 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 In an instant, a series of air-breaking sounds rang out. And there was no one around Uchiha Union and Shimura Dan's within 300 meters. Wind-style vacuum wave. As Shimura Dan's chakra surged throughout his body, his hands quickly formed seals, and a sharp breath similar to that of a sickle weasel spit out from his mouth, cutting through the air, and he roared away thinking of Uchiha Union. It's my turn. Then let me show you the power of the fire-style Grandmaster. Fire-style Great Fireball Technique. Uchiha Union also began to form seals, and chakra gathered behind his throat and spewed out a huge fireball from his mouth to the front, blasting it out. Boom boom! Accompanied by a roaring sound. The vacuum wave and the fireball suddenly collided, erupting an extremely terrifying power shock wave, sweeping in all directions, shaking the area. However, because the flame can make the wind help combustion and produce a more powerful flame effect, and the high temperature of the fire can also consume the airflow energy brought by the wind, the vacuum wave was completely crushed by the flame energy after a stalemate of 5 seconds. So much so that the fireball also bombarded Shimura Dan's. Swish! Shimura Dan's face was ugly. Ultimate! His body flashed. He dodged this wave of attacks. Randomly stretched out his right arm that was shaking with anger and pointed at Uchiha Union. Who can tell me, this is AFG Ninjutsu Idiot? Chapter 15. Who can tell me, this is AFG Ninjutsu Idiot? Angry. Shimura Dan's was shaking with anger, he was really a little incompetent and furious. An expert can tell the difference with one move. Uchiha Union seemed to simply perform a fire-style Great Fireball technique. But any ninja with a little bit of insight could tell from the speed of the seal, the hand gestures, and the power that Uchiha Union's fire style had also been cultivated to the Grandmaster level. A recognized ninjutsu idiot. After breaking through from the Taijutsu Elite Jainin to the cage level Taijutsu Ninja, his fire style also reached the Grandmaster level. Isn't this totally unreasonable? There is only one possibility, that is, Uchiha Liunian is actually a ninjutsu genius, but he is good at hiding his shortcomings, so he deceived everyone and made everyone think he was a ninjutsu idiot. Now that he has strength, he doesn't pretend anymore, he shows his cards directly. He doesn't intend to show himself as a ninjutsu idiot, he uses the Grandmaster level fire style. Liunian, this is too hidden, isn't it? Orochimaru's golden eyes flashed with disbelief. In fact, this Uchiha Liunian gave him too many surprises and turned into shock. You know, Danzo's wind style has already reached the Grandmaster level, and his ability and strength are beyond doubt. Now, Uchiha Liunian said that he doesn't need physical skills, but his proficiency in fire style is so high. He has also reached the Grandmaster level. Isn't it really a bit perverted? FK. Didn't you say that Uchiha Liunian is an idiot in ninjutsu? Damn it, his proficiency in fire style is so high, it's incredible. The ninjas of the Konoha shinobi army who had already retreated, after realizing it belatedly, looked at each other, and each of them could see the disbelief in each other's eyes. We are all ninjas, of course we can see how proficient Uchiha Liunian is in performing fire style great fireball technique. He is a recognized ninjutsu idiot, but he can perform fire styles so well, and his physical skills are so strong. Isn't he a bit too genius? However, after witnessing Uchiha Liunian's powerful strength, the ninjas of the Konoha shinobi army were looking forward to it. A top-level combat force that suddenly appeared can definitely affect the direction of the battlefield and the balance of victory. After the fusion of the proficient terms of Yin Dan, combined with the transformed body, the chakra also increased a lot and visibly. At this time, Uchiha Liunian didn't care so much, sensing the chakra surging all over his body, showing a look of surprise. And when I think of chakra, which generally refers to the product of an average mixture of spiritual energy and physical energy, his spiritual power has been greatly improved now. Although Sharingan has not yet opened its eyes, with the extremely strong body, chakra has soared to cage level, which seems to be a very normal thing. So much so that Uchiha Liunian's eyes looking at Shimura-dan's are full of teasing. What else can I say? Even if he doesn't use physical skills, Shimura-dan's entry is a duplicate, and no one can stop him. Shimura-dan's also gradually stabilized his mind, and he was more and more wary and afraid of Uchiha Liunian in his heart. He thought he was a super old coin who was good at hiding. Now compared with Uchiha Liunian, he is undoubtedly a small witch compared to a big witch. He is really too cowardly and too good at disguising and hiding. However, what Shimura-dan's didn't know was that Uchiha Liunian was indeed an idiot in ninjutsu. But, at the critical moment of life and death, Cheat awakened and achieved a super transformation in life. I don't believe it. The next second, Shimura-dan's took a deep breath. And as the chakra in his body surged, his hands began to form seals. Wind style great breakthrough. Wind style vacuum wave. Wind style vacuum big ball. Swish. 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 Shimura-dan's performed wind style ninjutsu one by one, which released a terrifying energy wave, and attacked the area where Uchiha Liunian was frantically. Good. Fire style Phoenix Claw Red. Fire style Fire Dragon Flame Bomb. Fire style How Long Huo Technique. Uchiha Liunian saw this, and as his chakra surged, he began to form seals with his hands, performing fire styles one by one, and bombarded him head-on. Boom! A few seconds later, a series of deafening explosions rang out. A top wind style and a top fire style master had a direct confrontation, and a terrifying energy shock wave broke out. Perhaps the power was too great, making the air so hot that it trembled, and large gullies appeared on the ground, and flames mixed with dust and smoke flew all over the sky, and the scene was very shocking. However, As the battle continued, the fire over wind became more and more obvious, especially when Shimuradan's wind style could not gain an